So it looks like we've got some people that love the gram on there. Had to make sure that cat didn't see what he was up to. Alright, I'm hoping to get the roof liner done today, so I'll take you through. I'll show you what tools we need, things like that, and obviously what materials I'm going to use. This is obviously what it looks like. It's quite saggy, it's quite annoying, and yeah, I'll show you what tools we've got. Like I said, it's one of those things where could pay someone to do it. I want to kind of find a way around vehicles a bit more. It's my project, like I've said all along, and it's I guess it's just generally good to know how things work. So yeah, I'll get ahead at putting this hood liner in, or the roof liner, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it, I guess. Hopefully nice and quick. This is what you're going to need: some torque screws, soft bristle brush, water, stay hydrated, one of these scratchy barbecue things to get the foam off, screwdriver, it's got all the sorted head attachments in it, plastic trim removal tool, pair of scissors, and some plastic cups. I generally find that that's good to put screws, caps, plastic clips, all that stuff in, and then, you know, it sort of keeps them in a nice safe place while you're doing it. Also, further a little bit downwind, we've got the headliner material. It's like $56 on eBay, and this Hermetex automotive headliner adhesive. Now it's probably about, you know, $250 to do yourself. Like I said before, it's always good to learn. So I guess let's get started. See how we go. So what I really love about this is that, well, I wish I could actually work this fast. So what you can actually see me doing there is just removing the caps to expose the torque screws. They're on the A and B pillar, both left hand side and right hand side, and they both say airbag. So what you see me doing now is obviously just going through the torque screws and loosening up those panels so I can start to look at pulling down the roof. So we want to remove the caps here and here. So that's there and there. Then these little things have a little pin in it. Show you. Oh. That. This little thing here has this. Just put a screw in it. And it slides out there. And then obviously torque screw. So now you just want to loosen off the B pillar panel and pull some of that interior door trim down as well. Now here, removing the central interior light and disconnecting the cables, or the harness rather. The first one's quite simple to get off, the white one, as you can see there. Whereas this next one was a little bit more difficult. I ended up having to get a screwdriver to sort of push under the latch so I could get it. And here you can see that I'm making a telephone call to Joe Biden and asking what he's doing. He's not really up to much. I think he actually forgets what he's doing most of the time anyway. So yeah, you can see it's a little bit of a hassle, this one. But I do get through it, and it does come off eventually. So I think I eventually end up getting a set of pliers and just cutting it or something. Lol, just kidding. Let's hurry this up. Huzzah, huzzah. Living with a disability. Alright, so moving on. I'm gonna do this side now and play around with it, and then, jimmy the roof panel out the passenger side. So just removing the rear view mirror there, and then there's 3 little clips at the back of the panel that you need to pull down on this particular vehicle and to get it up. And she's up. Moving on.
Alright, so for this part, I'm gonna need one of these Brazilian barbecue removing tools. Obviously, dustpan and brush, scissors, glue, water, and the material. That thing there. I recommend you measure it first, because I didn't, I just guessed. But hey, hopefully it fits first time doing this, so let's crack into it.
So now it's time to remove the old headliner, and here are the 3 clips that I had to remove from the rear of the liner as it was taking it up that I mentioned before. So what I'm doing here is just obviously using the wire barbecue brush to remove that old foam there. Now, it's relatively easy to do it. It did get caught a couple of times because it had a scraping sort of utensil at the end of that little brush there. But all in all, very little force, just cruising around and getting it off. And soon it'll be ready to have the adhesive applied to it. Just make sure you move your headliner out of the way as well, like I had to do before. So just going to go through here and clean up some of the workspace in preparation to getting the liner out and to cut to size. So just giving it one final scrape here just to make sure that everything's off it. Brush it, make sure it gets off, and now it's time for line sizing and trimming. One thing that I was a little bit disheartened about was the material came folded over in the post, and I'd have much preferred it to come in a roll. So I did notice some creasing when I first removed it from its satchel. No major drama though. One thing that I did ensure that I did was make sure that the fiber or the grain or whatever you want to call it actually runs in a parallel direction to what the liner is, just so it looks neat and so it's not rushed. So we're going to start gluing it now. Some of the advice that I got was to fold it in half first, glue half of it and then slowly roll it over and glue the other half. One thing about this particular adhesive though, it does dry really, really quick. And it's almost impossible to pull back on it once you've actually started to lay that liner down. So you'll see me tugging on it a couple of times. It actually was difficult to make a mistake. And I found that the best method here would be to, 1, use a flat surface like a table instead of 2 stems like that, and 2, just gently push it down bit by bit on one side, the other side, and on the inside of the liner. And I found that was the best way. You slowly just inch it forward and you can get it in there nice. So move on to the other side, peel it back halfway. I went over it with a towel here just to make sure that it was in all of those little grooves and everything nicely. Just cutting on the corners just to put some relief cuts there, just so I could work it in. And then, obviously tidied it up there. So moving on to this half, I put my towel on that side. I should have done it the first time, just to make sure that there's no overspray of glue. And what I'm doing with the glue on the actual liner is crisscrossing it and then applying the glue to the actual underside of the foam too. And here you can see I'll move from one side to the other side. I got a bit of a better technique here. One side, push it over a bit, next side, push it over a little bit, and you can just see me keep repeating doing that. And that seems to be the best way to do it without making any mistakes. I know this liner is a little bit smaller than what
most cars are, but the same concept would still apply. But yeah, definitely use a table or something to do this, or use a stand with a flat board on it. It's going to make your life a hell of a lot easier. So we're going to move into flipping it over in a second. And what we'll do there is just, trim off any excess that we've got and start to adhere it to the back side of it, I guess. So it's always good to make relief cuts on any change of angle or any change of width of the actual liner, and that just assists obviously with the manipulation of the material when gluing it to the back. So you want to leave about maybe an inch around the border, and give it a little bit of a spray with the glue just before you roll it over. Now I used my thumb and I rolled from the underside of it onto the very side of the plastic, and then just pushed it all the way just to keep it nice and tight, and then that way when it's inserted back into the vehicle it has a nice finish. It looks really quite slick, and it'll look good when I show you the finished results as compared to when I first took it out. So one of the things that we want to bear in mind also is that any recesses or holes that are designed for the sun visor, the lights, you'll have to actually cut those and roll them in as well. And the best way to do that is to make, the best way to do it would be to use a sharp razor. I try to use it here. It had a little bit of rust on it, so it wasn't exactly fantastic, so I did a little bit of chopping. If you got a sharp blade, that's going to work really well. And if you make like a little X and give it a little bit of a spray, you can just push back from underneath it, pop it around, and then roll them out, and it looks finished. It looks good. So what I'm doing here now is just grabbing some solvent remover and just spraying the scissors just to get some of this glue off, because it is actually quite tacky and sticky, and then it's always handy just to use a little bit of the offcuts just to clean that glue off. So I'll grab this liner in a second and I'll show you what it looks like. So that's what it looks like. And now I'm just piping it, making it prepared to go back into the vehicle. So now would be a good time just to go around, just double check all your edges, make sure it looks good. You just finish by getting any fibers off with the brush and go back and install it. So just setting up the camera and let's get ready for the install. So obviously installing it, it's pretty much just the reverse of taking it out. You want to make sure it sort of gets under all those panels and the B pillars, the A pillar, and then it's just a matter of putting it in, lining it up, tightening up those torque screws, and she's in. So once I've done this little bit, put all the door seals on, we'll go through and start having a look at some befores, some afters, and yeah, look, I drive around in it in the day. It's a lot better to have the headliner not on your head all the time, so that's nice. I like that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Here's some pictures of the finished product. Absolutely fantastic, if you ask me. Well worth all of that work. Thanks guys, join me next time.